Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am now going to be recording the 2022 December monthly report. I did get part one of the yearly predictions out. I will get the other one out someday this week. I know it is coming through. I'm picking up pieces and getting it, but I haven't got all the information yet. So when I get the information, I will give you the information and it will all unfold. So in the meantime, I am working through December. This is being recorded on December the 5th. And please remember this, don't replace any medical, psychological. This is to be taken as entertainment. There is no proof to any of the things that we get. It's a knowing, it's a trust. And my predictions are often pretty much, there is a lot of my predictions that we are watching unfolding in the world, not just mine, many other like me that do this. And so we've had a lot of predictions that we're seeing, including the weather patterns, including the floods and the volcanoes. And we said it would be like a really rough end to 2022, and it is not fully done. And so December does come with that as well. There is a lot of having to really see and not get stuck in being given a carrot in front of you. So there is like these little carrots, these dangling things that says, oh, look, things are going good, but they're really not. And I mean in the world scale. I don't mean within us ourselves. We are finding our way into creating our own worlds beyond the worlds that we're being forced to live in. People are creating their happiness, their joy, they're finding their way. They're doing the things that they need to do for themselves, and it's everywhere. And we're seeing it. People are learning the power of being able to really truly care for self and to care for self and self needs. And so this month in December is about what is important. What do you value the most? And that is often our sense of being able to bring peace into our lives. And December and coming into this month it brings hope. And with hope comes also being able to be at peace with knowing that all things must come to an end and all things must begin again. So there is going to be endings, and this year is ending, of course, but that's just a number. And so when people say, I can't wait for this year to be over. Well, why can't you wait for this year to be over? What difference does it make? If the year ends and nothing has changed and you haven't put any effort into your own healing and all you're doing is waiting for the number to change, then all's going to happen is the number is going to change. All of your tomorrows will look like all of your todays, all of your yesterdays, all the things that have followed suit. Everything will just blend together, and all you'll have is a repeat again. It'll just be another repeat. And what do you want? Do you really want another repeat? Well, I don't want a repeat of 2022 going into 2023. I don't want to repeat my own habits, my own behaviors. I don't want to have those repeats happening in my own life, and neither should you. And so if we want to do that, then what have we got to do? What do you have to do to be able to bring forth the changes going into your 2023? And so a lot of toxic energy, and that means toxic relationships, toxic friendships. And we've all been a toxic friend, even if we think we haven't. And we've all been toxic in relationships because we feed off of each other. We become mirror reflections. So if somebody else is mirroring onto you, their insecurities, their fears, then it's mirroring back to you some sort of your own. And, where we place judgment are areas where we really, truly need to look into our own lives. And so on that big scale, and being able to go to that place is a time of self-care, a time of making peace with where we have been, making peace with the past, and also making peace with some of the areas where, you may have really, truly fell from grace in your own sense of character, to think of the word of character. And so being able to, out of being out of character for yourself, to kind of probably be more argumentative, angry, defensive, kind of taking a stand for areas, I don't know, just a blend of things. That's I just don't, when I say I don't know, I'm asking the divine for more information. And so with that comes this, it's been like this continual flow of just watching and observing what's been happening. And so getting back into peace, coming into the place of peace is knowing that, it's that we all have a time when we live in times or energy, or we've all been in the presence of people who try to play God, who try to be the fixers of all things, who try to make everything better, who also then believe they know it all and can do it all and can be it all. And also that sense of, I'm intelligent, you're not. I listen to this, you don't. You're stupid, I'm smart. Like, we really experience a lot of that. We have seen a lot of that, and that kind of comparison that has come in. And so it's a time of resolving, healing, and not adding more salt to the wounds. It's time for us to be able to start healing those wounds, bring healing to those wounds, to repair and restore the relationships that are important to us, that matter the most. And so sometimes it's about us learning how to be compassionate. And I have a really good a way to really put this in perspective, because it's finding that balance of walking the line between boundaries and practicing what you preach and living with that and doing the best that we can. So prime example, imagine that you have a partner, a child, whoever it may be in your life, who you are feeling the sense of resentment, anger, frustration around, because they're not doing what you want them to do. They're not healing. They're not living their true life. They're not being honest. They're not being authentic. They're not all of those things. And you are finding and pointing out all of these faults, all of these issues, all of these problems. Now, imagine if this was your bestest friend, the friend that you got their back. You were with them all the time, no matter what they do. You can forgive them. You tell them that, it's okay. You messed up. You made a mistake. We'll find solutions. I'll help you find a solution to the problem. I will help seek help. You're standing there. You're with them. You become their cheerleader and their support. But because it exists within your own home or in your own space, and because it's influencing and impacting how you are feeling, and then you're having a connection to your feelings, then you don't have the same ability to be able to see the same person who's in the relationship or in your everyday space as you have for somebody who is a best friend, or somebody that you either have been helping guide through something, that you've been mentoring. And so that ability to be that out there for those people is because we have a defined definition to who people should be in the roles they are in our lives, and how they should behave, and how they should be, and what they should be doing. And we forget the dignity of humanity when it's in closer perspective, when it's in closer proximity. I can't get the word out. When it's in closer connection to us in our relationships, right? And so because we don't feel, when we have an emotional investment into a friendship, but over here we have invested everything of our heart, of wanting to see a desired outcome. And in order to see the desired outcome, people have to play out who they're supposed to be. And so the anger, the frustration leaves us blinded to the ability to be able to see the people the same way we see the people over here. And so that energy, and that is really truly where there is some focus that we place upon how we view things, is if I make it okay over here, why is it not okay there? If we make it acceptable here, why is it not acceptable there? So it's that a la carte of who we give special treatment to and how we show up, and the expectations we have upon relationships, upon people, upon areas within our own lives, and also our ability to justify our own behavior, how we show up, what we do in the world, how we are in the world. Proximity. That was the word I was trying to get out early. Proximity. People within a closer proximity to us in relationships. Whoa. And so that was the word, see, delayed reaction. So I have a neurological condition that has a very big, that the delayed reaction has gotten bigger over the years, but then also trying to channel. And when you're channeling the words, the English language just don't commute very well through, because it is a lower vibrating energy compared to this. This is so not a energy, a frequency. So it's light out there, it's power out there, it's love, and it's just hard to bring it into human words, because human words have definitions that define it and judgment upon it based on how we view it. So if I could just go blah, 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 if I could just speak light language and just give you this whole message in light language, it would be so much easier, but I can't. You need to be able to understand it to some degree. And so, and not that I'm going to give answers to things, is it keeps us curious. And all of my work is truly about just giving out the message, and it doesn't have an ending or a beginning. It just is. And then allowing yourself to be curious, to allow it to unfold within you. And so this energy and what we're seeing and what we're experiencing is that we are being looked at by the divine, by the angelic realm, by the divine, by the God energy, the God consciousness, and saying, we don't use that divide. We don't decide this and that of, okay, I'm going to give leeway and grace. I'm going to show grace and mercy. I'm going to show mercy to my friend, but I'm not going to have any mercy for the person in my house. I'm going to have mercy for my friend, but not for the person over here, not for the stranger, or not for the friend that's not as close to me. So if we say, and we announce ourselves to be the kind person, to be the good person, to be this, to be that, a whole essence of this, as we're coming down to endings, is to really recognize that we're not everything that we think we are. We're not everything we say we are, that we have more going on. And it's the shaded areas, the gray areas of where we have to really look in our lives to be very honest with ourselves about what it is and how do I want, what it is that is showing up, and how I allow myself to believe that when I can really hold that down, but I can't for somebody else, right? So I want somebody else to be honest, and I want somebody else to step up to the plate, and I want somebody else to do this, and I want somebody else to do that. But what are you doing for yourself? Right? So really recognizing who you are, what you are in each situation, recognizing how you have what I coin in my writings as the claim to fame of being this kind of person. I'm so compassionate. I'm such a listener. I'm this, I'm that. And it's like, okay, well, if you are, then are you it everywhere? Are you this everywhere you go? Do you bring forth this character or this piece of your identity in every relationship and everything that's in your life? And I mean within the scope of safety and still maintaining balance in boundaries, because there is boundaries, but really truly asking yourself, if I'm judging another, if I have such high expectations or such assumptions, and I'm assuming so much about somebody else, am I really above them? Am I better than them? Have I just conquered the world? Have I become God? Have I walked on water? Have I done these things? And if I have not, then I have to be very aware of what I am allowing myself to identify myself with. And so to be clear, to gain clarity with this, is to say, we are all human, we are all learning, we are all growing, we're all evolving, including the people that you're in relationship with, including the people that are closest to you, that may be going through their own transitions, their own awakening, their own realities, their own truth, finding their way in the world, trying to decipher between what is truth for them, what is not truth for them, and also the crippling of major things that are going to be revealing themselves. And there is major changes and shifts happening. And there's many, and we are bearing witness to, and we have been calling this, we are saying you're going to see big foundations, big organizations with weak foundations crumbling. You're seeing it in the fashion world right now. You're seeing it in the stock market. You're seeing it in those big companies that have been, selling the mission of greatness and authenticity and uniqueness and compassion and kindness for everybody. And for the everyday person, we care for you, but yet we sold billions without having billions. We able to convince people, but nobody questioned the character or asked themselves, like, why am I so intrigued by this person? What is this person? Why am I so captivated by what they are selling me? What is it that I really need? And what am I really desiring that I can overlook and not ask the big questions like, where's the money come from? What's the foundation? How's the foundation built on this? And so we're seeing the exposure and we're seeing foundations crumble. Well, that's the same thing. Bring it into us and into our everyday world. It's about knowing that so much of our lives and our relationships are built on weak foundations. And they're built on the foundation of only knowing, programmed, conditioned to believe into what a person should be in the roles they play in your life. So if they're a partner, well, if you're supposed to be a husband or a wife, this is you, this is what you're supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to do, this is how you're supposed to meet my needs. And, you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to listen to me, you're right. And so we have this long list, but also on that long list is the big secrets we keep, the things that that we haven't exposed ourselves to. So being and revealing that of ourselves and seeing it within ourselves and asking ourselves, am I everything that I expect others to be? And is my foundation strong? And more than existing, everything about more than existing is built on building a strong foundation. And it's about in knowing that who we are today is not, there is no one to blame but the self who's creating our experience in our moments, or what we're allowing, or what we keep pushing, upon ourselves, or what we keep pushing upon another. And so once we know somebody, and once we know new truths, and we discover new truths, and we find new truth, once we know these things, once you know, you can't unknow. So once we allow somebody the opportunity to reveal and let themselves be seen, and we can have that same level of compassion for people and care, then we can say, I really truly am thankful that I now know this. Now it gives me an opportunity to make a right choice. And my right choice may be to stay, to go, to stay, to work through things. But I often will say this, it's people will say, I don't want to hurt them, so I don't tell them. I don't want to do this, or if you give people the choice to choose for themselves. So the giving people the choice to choose for themselves also gives them breathing room to be able to process through what it is they need to say, what they need to do. And this is all energy. And this is all energetic threads that are just plugging in. And I can just see them plugging in. Is that who are we in relationship to all people in our lives? How have we been so contained within the structure of creating those roles for people, placing them in the roles, and how are we treating the people, and how are we treating ourselves, and what are we doing, and what kind of environment are we creating and existing in? And has our toxic become normal? And has our toxic become so normal that even when it's pushing the agenda of peace, of clean life, of clean energy, that it's actually filled with more toxic energy than it is anything else, right? And so being aware, right, as I'm talking, being aware of this and being connected to this is about allowing the divine kingdom, allowing the love, allowing the light, allowing ourselves to go deep within ourselves, to go deep into the foundation, the structure, to where and how we learned this, and why is this so acceptable, and why is it such why has this been so obvious but not obvious? And that's our level of unconsciousness, our level of being only aware of what we're aware of. We're innocent until we know different, but when we know, you can't unknow. So now, knowing that you can really recognize this within yourself, it is time to be able to bring forth a new sense of being within ourselves, in the sense of knowing that we can create a new world, a new existence, even though the rest of the world doesn't change. The rest of the world doesn't have to change for you to live in a new world. And that's how we bring back together a sense of bonding, connection, closeness. It opens up the ability for new abilities, or it opens up the ability to communicate, to have healthy conversations, to allow people to make choices and choose, to be present in all areas of our lives, to be present in love, and to know that love expands much deeper than our expectations and our assumptions. And that love is not built on weak foundations, because love needs a strong foundation to have the courage and the strength to be able to hear the truth, deal with the truth, face the truth, heal through it, to not add more salt to the wounds, not to keep picking the scabs off, but to be able to add the nutrients of love that is needed to bring forth a true, real healing. Because most of how we react and respond to the world has created the isms, the secrets, the addictions, the things that keep us hidden and disguised, wearing masks, having to hide. Because if we're being shamed, if we're being guilted in the places we should feel the safest, then how do we ever feel safe anywhere else? And that's one of the biggest parts of this message that's coming out for December. If we want to be peace, if we want peace in our lives, we have to first make peace. And we have to make peace with where we have been. We have to now bring this in. If we're bringing it into relationships, now bring it into your relationship with you. Bring it in deeper into your relationship with you. How you treat yourself, the expectations you place upon yourself, how far away from being at peace and clear and connected to self are you, when you are constantly shaming yourself, wondering if you've done enough, trying to be enough, trying to give enough, and behind the closed doors when nobody is looking? How are you treating yourself? What are you doing? What are you saying? Do you give your all to the world out there, and when you get home, you give nothing to the world that needs you the most? And that's the world that is with you. That's the relationship with you. It's the one relationship you cannot get out of. And this message is coming up everywhere again. And I'm like, when am I going to be done with this? And they're not done. And so, I went directly to the Oracle and I asked this, and it's funny because I got the King and the Emperor. So I got passions, desires, the Aries energy, and Aries is that natural born leader. And being that natural born leader, which is the Emperor, and being that natural born leader and bringing in that natural born leader is that if you do not take that control of your own life, and you're falling victim to all the fear stories, or you're able to constantly be able to be one thing here and another thing there, and there's that lack of consistency within self, is that you are not able to be fully embracing what it means to be the power of a leader. The leader walks away from the chaos. It walks away from mob mentality. The leader of real sense of peace and truth says there has to be a way. And if we're able to listen to all sides, all things, connect, but also know the power of boundaries and who sits at that table, who has, who truly can actually truly give without losing themselves, who can provide value to a conversation. And sometimes the most valuable pieces are the pieces that are the hardest to hear. And they're the things that we need to hear. They're the things that we need to listen to. They're the things that bring us back and bring us closer again. And then also saying, I will be what I can be without losing myself. If it's coming at a cost of losing yourself, if it's endangering you, if it's unhealthy, if it's all of those things, then you need to have some really strong boundaries to really be able to work through this. We're speaking on a gentler level, not in things that are out of our realm of work, but in that gentler realm of work. And so that leader, that natural born, brings us into the King of Wands. So we have the King of Wands, which is also ties into fire signs. It ties into lighting the fire and the passion. And we are in Sagittarius right now. And so there's a charisma, a charm, a just knowing. And there's nothing more charming and nothing more charismatic than being authentic and being real and being true and saying, I don't know. And I don't have all the answers. I can listen, but I'm not going to be the toxic friend or the toxic person that's going to one up you or shame you and say, look what you have done. Look what you've created. But I can say, but we can honestly say, look what the past and look what old beliefs, look what old patterns have really done to us as a human race, to us as people, to us in being suppressed, oppressed, pushed down, caused to be, to be constantly forcing people to be somebody they're not, telling people there's no way they can be that, that there's no way you can be your dreams, trying to get people to lose their authentic creative self. All of that all created what we exist in right now. And as a human race and as a collective and working together, is that when we can know that that created this really weak foundation that our world is wobbly on, and that there's a chance that we're never going to remove that. What kind of world would you like to live in? What kind of world would you like to create? And so this brings us into the Page of Cups, which is in reverse, which speaks about our emotions. And we also have the Three of Wands. We have the mind, body, soul. We have this, that, and then the solution, right? It's like, so we have this, that, and then there's a solution. Where's the solution? We are the solution. Where is the solution? We are the solution. But first we have to redefine, find out who we are beyond all that we have been told. And we also have to allow ourselves to be gentler and kinder and to be aware of any expectations that we place upon the expecting people to be, and to allow ourselves to be authentic to that self. We want peace. We have to be this, we have to be the solution that creates that peace. And the ship is coming in right here's the solution. So there's a ship, so the ship leads the way. This is the solution right here. So we have the wands, which brings in the passion, the desire, the heart, living from the heart, being able to connect. What does my heart want? Being able to just make that leap. Then we have the boat, which is the way. And then we have the person, right? With his back turned, we can't see the face. There is no face to the way, to the solution. There is often not clarity to the solution. It is the person that makes the choice to become the solution instead of the problem. And instead of creating more problem, or to become that sense of being the vessel, being the way, being that support, whatever it may be. So sometimes the solution is support. So holding this truth, holding the sense of a true leader, a true master wakes up every morning as if we know nothing, with the opportunity to learn everything today. What do I need to know today? What do I need to learn today? What is my one purpose today? How can I be of service today? How can I help you? How many times have you said to your own people in your own house, how can I be of service to you today? How can I help you today? How can I be the support that you need? And we don't communicate that way because we're not programmed to communicate that way, because that shifts the whole energy, and that's the energy that we are working with. So we have the Six of Pentacles. We start with the Ace of Pentacles. We're ending with the Six of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles is truly that sense of, this is a portal, a door, an opportunity. We have an opportunity to allow what is, been really, truly infiltrating our energy. And it's sinister. It's manipulative. It's it's rebellious, it's not wanting to conform, but we're not here to conform. We're here to be like free wild horses, but still being able to coexist and live together, to be allowed to be ourselves. And so this is bringing us into this, that there is a portal energy, a new door, a new opportunity that's opening, because we have this charisma, this charm that's there, that's just saying, there is so much more to us, but we also can be fooled by some of the other energy. Don't let yourself be fooled. It's almost like, this is almost like father, like divine father energy at the door is what I'm picking out. This is, to me, this is for me, this is how I'm getting it. So it's like divine father energy at the door, and is only going to let in through the door those that are going to be kind to the people beyond the door. So am I being kind? Am I being generous? Am I not going to be a bully? Am I not going to be the toxic person? Where am I being that? And what do I need to do to be able to strengthen the foundation, and just know that we have time to strengthen the foundations while we are experiencing and watching so many things collapse and fall down and exposing new truths. And I feel like for some people, there's going to be a sorries, apologies, that type of thing coming and saying, I'm sorry I judged you. I'm sorry I created that story. I was in my hurt. I was in my pain. I was in that. And you can accept it, but not open the door back up. You know that, right? You don't have to keep opening doors back up that needs to be closed. And so there is that opportunity. It gives people choices. And when we allow people the opportunity to be themselves behind closed doors, beyond the doors, everywhere, then we also give ourselves the opportunity to say yes to and no to whether or not that's going to align to us, to be what we want into our lives. So it's about creating balance. It's about creating a new way of being. It's about knowing that there is so much that is still here in energy. Don't have a limitation on it. Energy is not going to run out. So love and light is not going to run out. And energy is not going to run out. And that push, that narrative to cause you to fear it is because somebody is in control of the dials. Somebody is in control of, somebody has owned it, taken it, and placed a limitation on it and said, I will use it to manipulate. It's the same thing with water and selling us drinking water. Same thing. Same thing. Somebody has took it, convinced you need it, convinced you that what's around you is poison, no good, and convinced you that you need what they have, what they're selling you. And because of that, then you buy into it. And so that's the way we buy into our expectations up on people, and how we're going to be in relationship to those people, how we're going to treat them, what we expect from them, and how we expect things to be in those scenarios and situations in our lives. And so then we believe in ourselves, that I am the only solution, but there is billions of solutions with two legs walking this world. And if you're not the solution, somebody else can be. Right. And so we're not that damn special. Right. And but who we are, how we act, who we are with people, how we are with all people, how we announce ourselves to be, and to really look at all of these areas within our lives in this coming month, as we're coming through a month of change, as we are shifting and on, I think it's like April, something is coming in April. I'm like, April the 20th, what's happening? So here's a little prediction, I guess. What is happening on April the 20th? Something of a shift and a change is happening on April the 20th, 2023. I don't know what it is, but I just got it. And so, but what I was trying to say was, as December comes to an end, as December itself is coming to an end, there's going to be like a real light shining up on, and real truth, and all of these things. It's like, pay attention and watch the areas where you're seeing big people pull back. where you're seeing big people pull back. And so they may have been treating the world outside themselves very differently than they treat their families, right? Like they may have been manipulating, gouging out here, but in here, the main purpose has been just to keep my family safe, just to be here for these people, but never mind these people. So it's the this and that story that's coming up. And we have the Empress to end it out. We have Temperance. Here's the this and that, what is the real difference? And so we have major arcana, major life changes. We had the Emperor in the prior one. We have the Empress right here. And she's, she's got this beautiful ring, and she's that balance and holding that sense of the center, coming from the center. And if you can see, she is leaning to one side. So you can be balanced and still lean to one side, lean to another side. You can know what you still have your own mind. So when we allow people to reveal themselves, to reveal their truth, to know they're safe, then we also give people a chance, an opportunity to also, kind of sway a little bit in their energy, move a little bit. And so the divine feminine energy, the power of the divine, the power of that goddess mother energy to be there as, when mothers say, I treat all of my kids the same. I treat all of my kids equal. No, they don't, because they can't. It's an impossible task. You can't treat them equal because they all are authentically different. So they all have a difference in the way that they need to be, that the way that you communicate to them, the way they perceive, the way they accept, the way they show up, they have that within themselves. So no, I don't love them all. I don't treat them all equally. I treat them all as they need to, as required, but my love is all the same. I don't have to divide it. I don't have to give more over here for them to feel more loved. Love is just love. The actions comes from the emotional response, the triggering, that guilty response, that shaming that comes after the first thought of, oh my God, what if? And so that's where the out of balance comes. And paying attention to that conversation. Love is just love. You can't put it in your hand and divide it up. You can't. So it's a mother gives birth. She loves her children to the ability of her ability to love, to be able to give. And if she can't give to herself, then it's impossible for her to give to her children. And so then some of the most loving things she does is to be able to give the child to love, and to hand the child to love, because she haven't got the power to overcome her own darkness, her own energies that are owning her, whatever is owning, right? What owns you claims you. What claims you owns you. So what you get so stuck in owns you. It then owns you. It takes over. It has ownership. So that includes our thoughts, our narratives, and our stories, and then we react and we respond to it. Be aware of that this month. Be aware of your words and your thoughts. And then we have the 6 of Wands, which is walking into the crowd. I feel like walking into new energy, walking into new truth, walking into new beginnings, and starting again. And the Temperance, of course, was in between those cards. And this Temperance is very much tied to that. I want to say, because the orange and the yellow, I'm getting the sacral and the solar plexus rising up and above how we create from the emotions, and really looking into the power of the will and the power of the will, because we have free will. No one ever can take that free will unless you give it over, unless you say yes to something. It's like that story of selling your soul to the devil, right? Is that sense of, if you say yes to something because you have that sense of I need to know what's on the other side. Well, it's the same thing on the grass is not always greener on the other side. Remember that. It's like the grass is not always greener. What you have, you can nurture. Who you are, you can nurture. What you have can be nurtured, can be taken back. And so it's the sense of, water and fire is all coming from one place up here. And then we have this sense of, looking into, what are we looking into? What am I believing? What has a hold of me and my own free will? So it's a strengthening. This month is about strengthening and empowering self to really, truly look at all things, to be present, to be aware and to know that if we want to see things if we want to see things exist differently, is that we recognize all things exist all at once. All things are of the same. They all come from the same place. And that, we can be in a world that feels like hell, but we can also make peace and be in heaven at the same time. And it's so easy to be in this and that. And when we make the choice to choose to be the solution, it's like, I'm going to start creating more of what I want to feel, sense, and know, to be in my life and to be that within my world, and restore that sense of hope, and just restoring that sense of hope within our lives. And so allowing ourselves, on the bottom is the death card, and it's in reverse. And so the underlying of all of this brings us into the death in reverse. And, there is peace in death, right? There's when we let the old ways die, new ways begin. And so here we bring in the death. And so we are in an ending while we're celebrating the birth of something new, all happening at once, right? So when we celebrate the birth, but in that waiting, we're waiting for the, waiting for Jesus to arrive. We're waiting for that moment in time. We're waiting for that one to be born. We're waiting for that one moment, that one experience. We're waiting for the spark. We're waiting for that apology. We're waiting for that forgiveness. We're waiting for that person to change. We're waiting. Well, what are you waiting for? And why are you waiting when, if all exists and all is already here? You have to be the solution. You have to be able to make peace. You have to be able to look at things in a new perspective, open our hearts, open up our minds to be able to see and to know that as this old sense of self comes to, old sense of believing things to be that way, to come to an end, is that there's an opportunity to be able to feel that sense of peace. And, hope always exists. It's just we feel that we've lost hope, right? And so hope is being restored in the fact, in us believing in ourselves again, that we have the power, we have the ability, we are the solution to all things that need to be changed within our lives. Much love. Have a beautiful December, and I will see you very soon. You'll see a lot more videos coming up because there's just so many things to get out right now. Much love. Bye-bye.